Hey, thanks for tuning in with us on Marketing with Moody. I am Austin Moody, and today I'm joined by Diego Arden. He is the founder of Crown Real Estate. Diego, thank you so much for joining us.
Excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so this is a special episode for me. I mean, I've done a few of these so far. Diego here is actually one of my closest friends, and we've known each other for a very long time. And I'm just really happy to have you on, man. So thanks.
Thank you.
Tell the viewers a little bit about Crown Real Estate.
Yes, well, Crown Real Estate is a home buyer here in the Carolinas, even though we are expanding throughout the United States. We buy properties, we sell properties, and we have a rental portfolio. And we also help other people find their first investment property if they like to invest in real estate.
Got it. So you don't only have properties yourself, but you'll actually help someone else who wants to have rental properties. You'll help them find their first one.
Exactly. Yes. That's one of the main things that we do. We find properties for people who like to invest into real estate.
That seems is that a hard process?
Yes, well, when it comes to real estate, one of the main things that people don't tell you is that you got to find a good deal. If you don't find a good deal, you're losing right off the rip. So if you are thinking about buying your first rental property or your first investment property, even your own home, you want to be able to find a good deal on it. You can find good deals on market through realtors, or you can find them off market like we do. So through that process, we find off market deals that we can keep and buy for ourselves, or help other people buy their first investment property.
Got it. Okay. And how many people have you helped so far get their first rental property? Do you have that data? Or?
So we have buyers that we work with on a monthly basis that, that's their whole business. We help them find discounted properties.
Oh,
and people that we have helped buy their first property that didn't know anything about real estate, I'll say more than 5. Somebody that didn't know anything about real estate, they really wanted to find their first rental property or their first investment property that they could buy, I would say about 5. But, I would say more than 100 that we have sold properties to.
Yeah, to people who actually knew what they were looking for. You just went out and helped them find it.
Exactly, yeah.
Got it. So for those who don't know, what is the difference between what you do and like your typical real estate agent?
Absolutely. So I'm an investor. I'm a real estate investor that owns a real estate investment company. So the difference between me and a realtor is an agent that has a license in North Carolina to either help a seller sell their home and earn a commission, or help a buyer buy a home and earn a commission. The difference between them and myself is that I will buy the property directly, either using my own cash or using private money or a hard money loan to buy properties for myself. And I will either buy it and remodel it, keep it and rent it, or resell it.
Got it. And how long have you been in the business?
Going on 40 years.
4
years full-time in real estate.
4 years.
Mm-hmm.
You started pretty young, right?
Yes, I will say I was 21 when I started.
Okay. And you
21?
21, 22?
21, 22, somewhere around there.
Yeah. And when you first got into this, obviously real estate is one of those things that when people think to themselves, hey, I want to get into real estate, they go and they get a real estate license and become a real estate agent.
Mm-hmm.
You obviously didn't do that.
I didn't do that.
What made you go down this unorthodox path, this one, or I guess you would say untypical, instead of going into a real estate agent, you went into being a real estate investor?
Mm-hmm. Well, I always wanted to own my own business. Ever since little, I used to help my mom sell things, sell food, anything to earn a buck. And I just knew that I wanted to own my own business. I didn't know in what or what I was going to do that was going to take me to get to that point. And I was, so I'm originally from El Salvador. I was born and raised in El Salvador. That's in Central America. I got here to the United States back in 2010, did middle school, did high school, and I just had it inside of me. I'm not going to work a job. I'm going to own my business one day. And, after trying different businesses, I didn't really think about real estate at all. It just kind of fell in my lap, honestly. It was like God's blessing. After high school, I used to work as a waiter at a restaurant. And one day I was working another business at the time. I went into Starbucks. I saw an old buddy of mine from high school. Hey, how's it going? How you been? Catch up, what are you doing nowadays? He told me, hey, I'm getting into real estate. And I said, please, everybody's getting into real estate. It was like, if you talk to anybody, they will most likely, 6, 7 out of 10, they will say, I'm looking into real estate, right? So it's not new. And when he said that, I kind of, pushed him on the side. Then I was excited to tell him what I was doing. But then he mentioned, I'm making $8,000 next week. And I was like, dang, $8,000. That's a lot of money for me back then, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, well, can you tell me more about it? And then he kind of like gave me some pointers where I could dig in a little bit more information. And then I went home. I sat down and I said, I'm going to look into this. At the time, I used to be a recruiter for a big company. And I will work my day job. And then I'll work about 10 hours a day. And then after my day job, I would either work in the parking lot outside the office to have enough time to be able to find a deal and call people or learn about the business. Or I will just, walk around, see if I can find a distressed property that I can look at. I did that process for a couple months, and then after 6-7 months, I was able to find my first deal. That's how I kind of got introduced to this orthodox way of doing business, because I knew that my buddy back then didn't have a license. I asked him, do you need a license? He said, no, this is kind of like how I'm doing things. And I just went about it that way.
Wow. Yeah, so you you found someone who was in it. They kind of told you a little bit about it.
Mm-hmm.
You looked into it and you realized, hey, this is something that I can really get into.
I mean, he just said $8,000, and I said, all right, let's go.
I'm sold.
Yeah, I'm sold. What do I have to do? Where do I need to sign up?
No doubt. What was like some goal when you first got into it? You're 21, 22 years old. What are some goals that you had early on that you were like, hey, I got to get this done. I got to do it for this reason.
Yeah.
And that, some goals that you had that you were able to achieve early on.
So at the time, we had gotten evicted from the apartment that me and my mother used to live at because we were behind in rent. And there was 1 year, I'll say a year or two, I'll say 2 years prior finding real estate, I made $10,000 that year. The whole year, $10,000. And I was living at, who's my mentor now, I was living in his basement. Unfinished basement, no heating, no air, just living on the floor right there. And my main driving goal had always been, I want to retire my mom. Because I will see her go to work, come to home late, cook for me, and just be there for me. And it was just my driving force. I want to retire my mom. Whatever it takes, I'm going to retire my mom. And that was my driving force. And so, after only making $10,000 that year, thank God I found that recruitment job. Shout out to Tori. She know who she is. She gave me a chance. And found that recruitment job, and then I found real estate, and through real estate, I was able to retire my mother at the age of
gosh.
22, 23, I think it was.
Yeah, that's incredible.
I have a picture of giving her her first paycheck.
That's
And she
insane.
was so excited, yeah.
I bet she was ecstatic. I bet she was so proud of you.
Yeah, and she has been. It was my driving force because ever since I was young, she had always been the one to support me no matter what.
Yeah.
No matter what crazy idea I had, she will be the one to tell me, "Go ahead and do it. Go ahead and do it. What do you need? What do you need me to do to help you achieve whatever it is?" It doesn't matter how crazy it was. So it was definitely a dream come true when I was able to do that.
Yeah, so basically your mom was the lady who, no matter what, no matter if you failed, you succeeded, no matter what, she believed in you.
Exactly.
And when you told her you were going to do this, I'm sure you had some people say you're not going to make it.
Yeah, so...
But she was one of the ones that said you will.
So when I started real estate, I didn't tell anybody because I didn't want the negative feedback of people. People, your family members, even people that love you genuinely, because they don't understand and they think a certain path is better than another or it's more secure. They're just not gonna understand what you are going to do. And if you have something inside you, a drive inside you, sometimes it's better to start without telling anybody, and then just let the results speak about you.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. And that was my case. I let my results speak. I started, I retired my mom. I quit my job. I started traveling. I got a nice car, and I just kept moving up. And then my family and people started seeing it, and they're like, "Dang, it's working out for him."
You got a nice car. I like the Lexus.
Thank you.
I like the Lexus.
Thank you. I like it too.
Yeah.
Right.
It is. The white. It looks good. It looks
Yeah.
good.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, speaking of people, you didn't tell anyone.
I like your car. I already said that multiple times.
What's that?
But, I like your car.
Yeah. We both like to ride in style, right?
Yeah.
You got to, right? I guess what's it? The people that you didn't tell. How long was it before you did tell them? Like, hey, because there was definitely signs. You just, like you said, you didn't tell anyone, but there were signs. You ended up, with a nice car and this. You retired your mom. How long was it before you were like, yeah, okay, guys, fine. Listen, here's the deal. I'm in real estate.
I didn't tell them.
No. Wow.
To this day, some people they just know I'm in real estate, but they don't know
until this podcast comes out.
They don't know, I own this many houses, or they don't know anything. It's better if you keep things private. Let the results speak about you. Don't dress fancy. I'm all about enjoying how much you make and your efforts. And, if you want to get a nice car, get a nice car, pay it off, right? Don't go in debt. When it comes to clothing or this and that, it doesn't matter, because people who have that and live that lifestyle, they don't need to tell others about it. People who don't have it, they want to tell others, they have it, but they don't.
Yeah.
So, my family knows. My friends know that I'm in real estate, but they don't know exactly what I do.
To what extent?
Yeah, they don't know exactly to what extent.
Got it. Okay. All right. So what is you say you're 23 years old, you retired your mom. What year was this? This was probably 3 years ago, right? So 2002 or 2022?
2021, 2021, I think it was.
Okay. So now we're going into 2022, COVID is kind of calming down a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Your business is, where's it at? Is it continuously growing?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes. It's been a long road, I went to a trimester of college, and even though in my entrepreneurial journey, because I came from nothing, I didn't know anything, and I didn't know anybody. I kind of had to learn myself, even though I did have one mentor that I like to thank, if he ever gets to hear this. He was the one that taught me the ropes of personal development.
What's his name?
His name is Gary Newell.
Okay.
Gary Newell. amazing man. Him and his family, um, they're great people, and they were able to teach me personal development. So if you don't know anything, the first thing that you need to work on is yourself. Learn, what are you doing with your finances, your mindset, how to use the power of attraction, the power of goals, creating a plan, different things, right? So all that was able to help me to move on the fast lane in real estate. And now that I'm in real estate and I have been able to learn a high income skill, I'm in the process of learning how to build a company. That's a different skill, right? What the infrastructure looks like, the different roles in the company, the different levels, etc., right? So I'm in the process now of building my company, and as I'm building it, I'm learning through it. But every year we have had growth, so I'm really excited about that.
Yeah, so when you talk about growth, obviously you have, bare roots. Growth means you're finding more customers, right, or more clients.
Mm-hmm.
How are you finding, what's worked in the past, what's worked now, what hasn't worked? What's kind of been your forte for finding, more clients?
So everything comes to marketing. What type of marketing? If we're talking business, right? What type of marketing are you doing?
Yeah.
And the different channels, the different ways that you can do marketing. So we've been trying to nail down in our marketing, getting more specific, keeping track of more KPIs in our marketing to be able to identify, okay, this is our exact target, this is our exact demographic and geographic, right? So nailing down in our marketing and making sure that our sales process, once we have find those people that do want to sell, it is nailed down. So working on marketing and making sure that once we have those people, once we have their interest, we're talking to them the right way so that we can make the deal happen. So working through the infrastructure of those two things, as well as the execution, because sometimes your marketing can be great, but if you don't have the right sales process, everything goes to shambles and so forth, and that sort of thing.
Yeah. So, and you've been in business now for 6 years. Have you seen anything really? 4 years, right? 4 years. Have you seen anything really change drastically over the 4 years?
Yeah. So the first year in real estate, every year we had been on a incline. Actually, COVID was. I know it was a bad year for a lot of people, and I feel bad for the loss of a lot. Business-wise, that was a good year. Every year has been great, but last year was a bit more challenging. It required more skill on the marketing and sales side of things, because just the market shifting. Back in 2022, you had like your bubble that burst in July 2022. Because of the interest rates. And then, sellers knew that the market was getting really, 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 really hot in 2022, 2023. So we focus on finding properties that need work, right? Mm-hmm. So we can get them at a fair price. But sellers, since they knew that the market was hot, they still think that the market is really hot, which is not, because of the high interest rates. And that also shy buyers away. Not in all areas, but overall. So you have sellers that are asking a high asking price, so kind of hard to get deals, right, at fair market value. And then when it comes to buyers, you have a lot of buyers that shy away. The inexperienced buyers, because whenever the market is hot, everybody jumps into real estate. But when the market is tough, that's where the skilled people come in and they play the game.
And everybody else leaves.
So last year was challenging for that part. To be honest, at the beginning, I thought it was me. What are we doing wrong that is not generating the same results that we have been getting for the past years? And then I spoke to people who are in the same business as me, who are owners like me, and they told me that they were having it was a really interesting year for them too. So this year we're excited for what's to come. We're gonna be expanding our operation, hiring people, and just nailing down our systems and processes to get better and just crush this year.
Yeah. Last year, I mean, so we work closely together. You're downtown, I'm downtown, and when I do, see you, you're always working, right? Now, obviously you have fun. I follow you enough to know, on social media that you have a good time. What is the time dedication requirement for someone to do what you do at the level you do it at?
Well, to do it at my level where I am, since I'm still the operator of my company, I still gotta be hands on. 6 hours a day will suffice. I like to work a little bit more to after I'm done working, I'm building the infrastructure of my business. But I will say 5 hours or so, 5, 6, 7 hours.
Okay, so it's definitely doable for someone if they wanted to get into real estate. They could do it. It just requires them to.
No, that's at the level I'm at, though.
Level you're at.
Yeah,
okay.
The level I'm at.
What
I
about
didn't start here.
Got it. Okay. What about a newcomer? What would they have to do?
What will they have to do? So, I mean, any newcomer, unless you don't have a business, unless you don't have a job. If you don't have a job, then you have more free time. I would say that putting 5 hours a day or so, you can find a deal or two a month, which, that's pretty good income if you don't have any expenses, any overhead, any employees, that sort of thing. I would say 5 hours a day, Monday through Friday, Monday through Saturday, you could probably do this. If you have a job, it becomes a little bit more harder. You can still, I used to work 10 hours a day, but I was still able to put in 2-3 hours after my job to work my business. And then Saturdays, all day, I was working in my business all day. So I would say on average, 5 hours a day. If you don't know anything about real estate, maybe a little bit more, because you have to learn about real estate and then execute on it. But then if you know a little bit about real estate, then you just gotta learn how to find the deals, which that would be about 5 hours a day, because in order to find a deal, you need to talk to a lot of people to be able to find a good deal. You can find people who want to sell, but they won't necessarily sell to you at a fair price, which you can make money on.
So speaking of newcomers, I know basically from online, I've seen so many people claim to be this wholesale or real estate investor guru where they're going to teach you how to do it. Basically, what they did was they went out and rented a Ferrari and made a video and put it all over Facebook. And they're not the real deal, right? They might be doing it and they might be doing well, but they're not where they are showing themselves on the video, right? I know from personal experience, you're the real deal. Like you've been in it. You know what you're doing. You do it very well. And so I'm assuming you have a lot of people come up to you and ask you to mentor them. And I personally have been around and had, around you when people have asked that, which is how I know. What's your thoughts when someone comes up to you and says, hey, I'm, so-and-so, and I want you to mentor me because I want to do what you do and I want to have what you have and blah, blah, blah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man, there's a lot of people out there making YouTube videos, doing this, doing that, building their personal brand on social media, saying that they do real estate. I mean, I remember seeing this one chick in YouTube. She had a lot of followers, and she only done like 20 deals in her whole career.
20 deals?
Yeah, that's insane. At any rate.
Any chance you'll tell us how many deals you've done?
You done over 100 for sure.
You've done over 100 deals.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I would say the first, second year, we didn't really keep track of every single deal that we were doing. So we only had data of the past 2 years.
So you've done more than,
Yeah,
well, it might be 150.
perhaps, yeah, done a lot of deals,
Wow.
a lot of transactions, and not just a straight buying and selling, but doing some creative stuff too, like buying a property with a mortgage still attached to it, buying a property not using my own cash. Different types of ways that you can buy a property. Done it all. But going back to your question, yes, I do have a lot of people reach out to me, and I that's another thing why I don't like about posting or talk about real estate or this and this and that, because you get a lot of people that they will reach out to you. Hey, can I invite you to lunch? Can I get 30 minutes of your time? Hey, any way you can teach me about this or that? I have tried in the beginning. People will come up to me and ask me, hey, any way that you can teach me about real estate? And they were mostly curious on how the process was done, rather than having a deep drive and desire
To make it work.
make things work.
Yeah.
And so I personally wasted a lot of time working with people, making calls with people, telling them, hey, do this, do that, do this, do that. And they didn't do it. They will fall off in a month or less, or they wouldn't do what I will suggest them to do. And so I no longer do that. I focus on myself. If somebody has questions on how can I get a new home, or hey, how do you do this, how do you do that, and I know them, I will definitely help them, give them some time. But to people who, hey, teach me this and this and that, no. Unless, I give them pointers. Like, for example, we know this buddy of ours, he came up to me saying, hey, the way you can teach me. I gave him some pointers and told him, hey, if you find a deal doing what I had just told you, I'll buy it from you. He was able to find a deal. Actually, there have been 3 people that they have asked me, hey, how do you do what you do? I told them what to do. 3 people. They went out and they executed on what I told them, and they were able to find a deal. And I bought one deal out of those 3 people. When I see people like that, then I'm motivated to help them and guide them farther, because I know that they're going to execute on it. But 95% of the people, they don't.
They're going to be the ones like the other 2 that didn't.
Exactly.
Got it. Okay. Yeah. So you also do rental properties.
Mm-hmm.
Now, how do you manage all this?
So I have somebody that helps me manage our rental portfolio.
An employee?
Mm-hmm.
Got it. Now, do you have other employees too, or is that just your?
I currently have about 5 employees.
You got 5 employees
Mm-hmm.
on your team.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Yeah, so they help you manage that. The rental properties, they help you kind of streamline your process on your real estate investing.
Correct. Yeah, the whole operation. We have somebody in marketing, somebody in sales. We have somebody in project management, and somebody that also manages our rental portfolio.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
In your 20s, 26? 27 now,
mm-hmm.
with 12 rental properties.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty insane.
I mean, dude, to be honest, I feel like I'm behind.
Behind?
Yeah.
You're not behind.
I feel like I'm behind.
I don't think anyone watching this episode is going to say that guy is behind.
I mean, y'all should, because I need the pressure. Yeah, I feel like I'm behind. My goal is to have 100 rental properties by the time I'm 30, which I believe I can do. Just got to step it up and stop traveling.
Man, you travel a lot.
Yeah.
Was that your favorite thing to do with your free time?
I will say so, yes. I will say when it comes to traveling, snowboarding, spending time with family and friends, I love doing those things. Yeah. I will say that. I didn't, my dream is to travel. I didn't have that dream. It just kind of happened. And once I started experiencing it, I just couldn't stop.
Where's your favorite place you've been?
My favorite place I've been, I will say, mm,
You can give a top three if one's too hard.
top three. I will say top three was Rome and Italy. I will say Italy as a whole is very beautiful.
Okay. Italy.
Dubai is amazing. Dubai is great. And I'm trying to think. Perhaps Dominican Republic.
Dominican Republic.
Yeah, if you
Rome
like.
or Italy entirely, and Dubai.
Those
Wow.
three places.
Those are all. I feel like those are all bucket lists for anyone. So that's pretty incredible.
I would highly suggest them. If you are on the budget, start in Dominican Republic. They got great beaches, great everything. And then if you have a little bit more budget, go to Italy. I love Italy. And
if you have a big budget,
big budget,
go to Dubai.
Yeah.
Yeah. You were there for quite a while, weren't you?
Yeah, I've been 2 times now.
2 times. You were there for what, a month the first time?
No, not that long. I think been close to a month into 2 times combined.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah.
About 3 weeks or so.
Yeah. I saw the pictures and they look pretty incredible.
Yeah, it is a good time over there.
Yeah.
Very different. Everything is different.
I don't know if I'm supposed to say this or not, but one of our best friends got stuck there for a little bit.
Yeah.
That was a pretty crazy story.
He was living life, I tell you.
He was living life. The fact is that they didn't want him to live the life but he was living the life.
He was living the life.
And
he's living the life.
He is, and he lives the life anywhere he goes.
Yeah.
And I think if anyone knew who he is, they would understand that like you can't keep this guy down.
No.
You can keep him stuck in a country.
You know what's crazy though? He is the greatest networker I know because he was over there
1,000%.
alone and he ended up with friends. A lot of friends.
And he came back and has a business partner.
Yeah.
He owns a business now in Dubai.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah.
Who goes to Dubai for vacation?
Yeah.
Gets stuck there.
Without knowing anybody.
Yeah, gets stuck.
Yeah.
By himself. And then comes back and says, yeah, I have a lot of great friends and I also own a company now in Dubai.
Yeah.
Like that is incredible.
Yeah.
So
man.
he is. He's a great guy.
Mm-hmm.
We'll have him on pretty soon. I won't spoil on who he is, but we'll have him on soon, and we'll also bring that up because I would love to hear that story on here. So
yeah.
So what's the game plan for? Not the game plan. What's ahead for Crown Real Estate? What can we look forward to seeing from Diego Arden and Crown Real Estate?
You can expect to see our company get more recognized with working in our marketing a lot, to be more known in North Carolina, and expand throughout the U.S. So you can expect more recognition, see us everywhere, billboards, TV, etc. You can expect to grow our operation, and yeah, just expect to hear from us.
Yeah.
Expect to hear from us, not from me, from us, because the brand is Crown Real Estate.
Yeah. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Is there someone that, let's say next time we have Crown Real Estate on the show, is there someone else that you think might be worth having on, aside from yourself? Maybe another team member that you're like, hey, listen, I think you need to come on.
Absolutely. Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, maybe next time we can have that person come on and hear their side, and kind of see what they think about it, everything, and hear their journey from where they came from now on the journey of Crown Real Estate.
Yeah, it certainly be our sales guy, talk a little bit about sales for people who have their own business who are listening to this.
Oh, yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, teach a little bit about sales and stuff.
Well, last question I have for you, Diego, is if someone wanted to get a hold of you, how do they get a hold of Diego Arden?
So you can go to Google and type Crown Real Estate Home Buyer. You will find us there. Personally, you can reach me through Instagram at Diego Arden _, or you can find me on Facebook as well. Shoot me a DM. I'll answer if you say that you listen to this podcast.
Awesome. Diego, thank you so much for coming on today. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you for having me.
As always. So, and everyone else who's tuned in, thank you for watching today's episode of Marketing with Moody. Special guest here, Diego Arden. And check back in next week for next week's episode. Thanks a lot. Diego.
Thank you, buddy.